meetup, please don't forget us to give the feedback. And also, as it's a baby event, do not, when you click on the leave, even if you want to leave in between, don't leave it for all, just leave it for yourself. To just close the meetup for everybody, so that's a big problem. So don't leave it for all. So yeah, this is just what I wanted to share. And thanks again for joining the meetup. Next. uh, and this is our agenda, I guess. Sumit, you'd like to go through the agenda?
Yeah, sure. So we are going to start with our introduction of our moderators, like the leaders, and then the speaker will introduce himself. And community details, I think Supriya has already gone through. And the topic for today is like custom connector. And Gaurav is going to walk through us with a live demonstration as well. And then we have Q&A. Q&A session is going to be throughout the session. It is going to be an interactive session. And we'll close this event with the trivia quiz, and there are surprises as well. So we can talk about this later once we are done with the demo and all. Coming to the next slide, yeah. So yeah, Sandeep, would you like to go and introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Sandeep Krishnan. I'm also a meetup leader at Kochi. And regarding myself, I work for a company, NJC Labs. We are training partners of MuleSoft Technologies and integration partners as well at the same time. So I'm a technical instructor for them, and we are. I mean, we are going through multiple kind of trainings on a daily basis, and it's a busy schedule, these days. So a lot of trainings are happening. So thanks everyone once again for joining. So I hope this will definitely benefit this session. Is benefiting for you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, yeah, go ahead. So, thanks for that.
Supriya, you want to go ahead? Supriya, you there? Okay. Meanwhile, she comes. Let me introduce myself. So, yeah, myself, Sumit Ahuja. I am working in Wipro as an integration architect, come technical lead. I have total 6+ years of experience in technologies. Thank you all for joining this session. I hope we will make this session more interactive and more learning and more informative for you. And also, as Supriya mentioned about the feedbacks, please don't miss out that section of giving us feedback, because that will help us to help you in near or upcoming sessions. So that is very precious for us. Your comments and your suggestions. Hope you will enjoy the session. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, my network, I had some network issues. Sorry about. Yeah, I think I'm also a MuleSoft meetup leader at Kochi. I have 8+ years of experience in integration technologies. I am MuleSoft developer, architect certified. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this session, and I try to make it as interactive as possible. Yes,
All right. Thank you.
slide, yeah.
Okay, so this is something community details that we have. So for all the blogs, you can go in on these MuleSoft websites for the registration of meetups, for official training, and then pick KO, and then forum and blogs. So this is just kind of an FYI. And yeah, so we have a speaker today going to walk through us on custom connector. So Gaurav, I think it's all like, let me give a control to you from now. So please go ahead and share the screen, and maybe you can introduce, and maybe you can start the session.
Sure. Thank you, Sumit.
All right. Thank you.
Hi everyone. My name is Gaurav Sethi and working in CSG International from last 3 years. And total, I have 7+ years of experience in integration and API technologies. And from last 5 years, I'm working in MuleSoft. That's it from my end. Let me my screen, guys. Please let me know once it's visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Right. So today's our session will be on MuleSoft Custom Connector. So I hope everyone have Apache Maven installed in their system and AnyPoint Studio. because once we will just go through this very high level of overview and introduction, and post that we will do the hands-on session together. So it is kind of a lab session. So if you have any issues, we will just solve there and then we will proceed for the next step. Okay. Now we are coming to the topic, MuleSoft connector. So if we will just discuss about connector, what is connector? So if we will see, a connector is a software that provide a connection between Mule flow and an external system. So using external system, we can connect with the other systems as well. And the source that can be any the resource that can be any kind of source of content, for example, like HTTP or database or protocol or any kind of APIs. So we can identify that in our exchange, or if it is not available into the exchange, we can create our custom connector based on our requirement. So that is the thing. And if we will see in exchange, there are a number of sources connectors are available, but if we will see in some time we are not identifying the connector which is required for us based on our requirement. In that case, we need to create our own connector. For example, if I will just take any example, every organization have different way to do the logging system. When we are logging that someone is or someone is pushing into S3 bucket. So every time, well, when we are logging that into the system, we have to connector. We can create our own connector for the logging purpose. We will not use or we will not create every time a new connection. For example, S3 we are taking, we will a new connection for S3 to pushing the logs. We will create our own connector, update the session there, and then we will push the logs for that specific thread, the complete session. Okay. Yes. Coming to the next. So MuleSoft have a range of inbuilt connectors. We can use these connectors as per our requirement. And in Mule SDK, we have Mule Runtime 4 to develop our own connector. And this is very different from Mule 3 runtime, because in Mule 3, when we are discussing about Mule 3, there we have a dev kit, but in Mule 4, there is no dev kit. How we are creating the connector in Mule 4? Anyone have idea how we are creating? No? Okay. Before coming to the Mule 4, like, is anyone know what is the difference between dev kit and SDK? How we are creating that? Okay, so first we are coming to the difference of from DevKit. What is the different from Mule 3 and Mule 4? How it is differently? So in Mule SDK means in Mule 4 is replacing to the DevKit. So SDK is completely replacing that DevKit. DevKit is not available in Mule 4. So in is SDK is not a code generator. It is a built-in module that does not contain any generated code, not even XML schema, XML XSD schema as well. So SDK is more powerful and support more features. For example, Mule 4 SDK is supporting for non-blocking operations, class loading isolations, dynamic configurations, request response messages sources. So these all features are available in Mule 4 SDK, but these was not available into the Mule 3 dev kit. So this is the major difference between Mule 3 and Mule 4 while we are creating the custom connectors. And in Mule 4, if we will see, there are two ways to create the Mule SDK. One is using the XML SDK and another is SDK. Okay. Coming now next. So today in the today's session, we will see how we will create the Mule SDK using the Java. Good. In the next session, we will go for the XML SDK. In today's session, we will go for Java SDK. So Java SDK have advanced features like non-blocking operations with callback, and we can create the sources, we can create the routers, we can do for only for operations if it is not required the sources. Okay, so now we are coming to the custom connector pros. It can be reused for all integration point to the systems. It will hide the integration complexity, and we could connect to any API or protocol. That is the advantages, pros. Any question here, guys? If all good, then we will go for the next step. Any
Yeah,
question?
Gaurav, I don't see any questions coming in the Q&A section as of now. Please continue. If we see any, I think we'll stop you at some point of time. Okay.
Sure, Sumit. What is the custom connector lifecycle? So inside the lifecycle, we will say we will setting up a connector project first. We will write the connector code, write the connector test cases, then we will document the connector project, and then we will packaging a connector. So these are 5 steps which is coming under the life cycle of custom connector. And what is the prerequisites for this? Java development kit, JDK version 8 or above, Anypoint 7, Anypoint Studio 7 IDE, and Apache Maven 3.3.9 or higher version. Now we are coming to the part how we have to create the custom connectors. Okay, so guys, now we will do this practical session parallelly. Please open the location where you want to create the custom connector. Okay. As I have said, there are 2 ways to create a Mule SDK. One is XML and Java. Today we are going through the Java SDK. So first step is we will open the location where we need to create the custom connector. I'm pushing one command into the chat window. So copy this command. We'll go open the terminal and we'll just paste that command. So basically, if we will discuss what is this command using, why we are using this command. So to set up a Mule SDK project, we need to create the project using the Mule provided SDK extension archetype. Okay, so their archetype catalog provided by Mule in 2 ways. One is the using maven command or using the repo, using archetype repo. So here we are going through the maven command. This the first link I have shared in the chat window. This is from archetype repository, and the second link which I have shared just now is using for architecture command, maven architecture command. So this is the command which will generate the archetype for us. Okay, so once we have used this command, I'll just press enter. It will create the base template for us. Now it is confirming the name of extension. What is the extension name we want to give? For example, we are giving meetup connector. Now we have to give the group ID for the same. We're giving group ID com dot meetup dot mule connector. Mulesoft meetup connector.
Gaurav, sorry to interrupt you.
Yep.
Yeah, your command is not working that you paste in the very first, like the
The first
repository
is
dot.
for repository. So how we have to do from the first command, right? There are two
Mhm.
things.
Okay,
As I have said, like the first is using the repository. Repository is not a command. This is an XML. So if we want to use the repository, we will go to the preferences, and inside that one maven should be there, maven option. Inside that maven repos, inside that repos, we will provide this XML link, and then this template will create.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. If you didn't installed maven plugin in any point studio, the first command, the xml file, won't work. The second option is, like, for example, if I will see any point studio, in my case I haven't installed because just now I have taken the fresh code. Any point studio, I'm not able to see maven option here. So I'm not able to use that command. If that maven option is visible, if you have that plugin, you can use that first command. If you didn't install maven plugin yet, in that case, you have to use the second option, this maven command. This command will generate the arc template for you. And at the last, we have to give the extension main package. The main package we are giving org.mule.extension dot meetup. If you need a rough value for this or sample values for this, let me paste in the chat window. Yeah. So once we have given the extension main package, the archetype is created successfully. Okay. I hope everyone created the archetype. Now, what is the next step for us? If the if this is done, then we'll just see this is created successfully without any error or not. Then we will just do maven clean. Yeah, because if we will see the ls, I didn't went inside the connector. Cd Mulesoft Meetup connector. Here the POM file is there. Now I have to do maven clean. Build is success means the template is created successfully without any issues. Going to the Mule project, import project, Anypoint Studio, file system, and now we will pick the project where it is. Meetup, MuleSoft Meetup connector, Meetup extension. It is importing this project. We have created the archetype, and now we have imported the project into your workspace as well. So import into workspace is in progress. 75-100% it is done. This is test mule config. We'll just close this file. This is the structure of our project. Basically, if you will see, there is no flow configuration file into main. Okay, but if you will see inside the Java, we have one package. What is how this name is coming? This is the same name, org mule extension meetup, which we have provided while we are creating the template. We have provided the extension main package name. This is the same. Inside that package, there will be 5 classes. Each class have their own purpose. Now we will just go through that each of the class. But before going to that, just clarification. I hope everything is on the same page. Guys, any response? Please ping in the chat window if you are facing any issues. Else we'll just proceed for the next step.
Gaurav, I just see one question from Rahul Kumar 8 minutes ago. What do you mean by packaging a connector? I
In
think
the
I've already
pack
answered it.
in the life cycle, we have done the packaging and selection, packaging the connector. The packaging connector at last we will upload that and publish this into the exchange. Will all the documentation, everything we will publish into the exchange.
All right, yeah. Please continue.
Got a quick question. The dependencies are getting downloaded, and I got one message like generating projects in batch mode. Is it done, or we have to wait to download?
If build is success, then it is done. See, when we have created this project from template, you can see the message build success and the command is completed successfully.
Okay, makes sense.
The same you will get if the build is failed or success. If the build is success, means the project is created. Once the project is created, go inside that specific project folder, like how we did here, cd inside that project, and just try to run ambient clean. If
Okay,
your project is cleaned successfully, it will build success, means it is created successfully. And after that, you can import your project.
okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, now this. So now we are coming to the 5 classes. So there will be 5 classes and each class have their own perspective. But before going to the class, we'll just explain the folder structure. So when we have the main Java folder, so this folder contains Java files for our connector. It, it includes all the skeleton Java files for our operations, connection configuration, or additional support classes, whatever it is required, we have to store into this package. Okay. Second is main resources. I think everyone is aware about this folder. This resource folder contains non-code resource accessed by our connector. So this folder is empty when initially we will create our project. Okay. So what will happen generally, like if we are creating any project with any RAML file, or we want to save our configuration, any public private key. So in that case, we will use the resources folder. Okay. The next is coming to the test Java. The Java test folder inside the test contains the Java source for the test files for our connector. If we want to perform some unit test cases, JUnit test cases, in that case, we should use the src test Java. The last folder is here, test resources. The similar ways of the main resources, it contains known code resources accessed by our test unit test. So this folder also contains a skeleton of Mule configuration file for all the runnable test cases. Okay, and next important thing is pom.xml file. I hope everyone is aware about the pom.xml file. So this is based on our archetype, which is used to create the project. In our case, like Maven generates the pom file. So POM generally refers as our project object model. So whenever we are generating that archetype, based on that, the POM will be generated. If you will see the normal POM file and generated archetype POM, what is the difference? Here you are just getting only one parent option. You don't have any dependencies as of now. So the POM is also created based on the Maven archetype. Okay. And Maven use our pom.xml file to keep track all the dependencies which is needed to build a project, or including that dependencies version number and their location as well. So we may have to add the items to the pom.xml file during the connector like development process in order to pull in additional libraries, and we can add the steps to build the process as well. Okay, so this is regarding the pom.xml file. Now we are coming to 5 files which we are discussing. So we have basically 5 files. First is extension file. So the extension file is the main file which have the starting point of the connector. I'm just closing the form and opening the extension file. This class identify the properties of our connector. We have provided the prefix as a meetup and extension. And if you will see, this is the entry point of this class. And from here, we are adding this configuration as well. That is the meetup configuration.class. If we will see Mule for connector is nothing but this is an extension only. This class would identify which is the configuration class and which are the operation classes. All the details will explain inside the extension class. The second class is the configuration class. So what is the configuration class? This class contains all the information that you want from the global configuration of the connector. This is all regarding global configuration of the connector. And this also contains all the configuration parameters. Whatever parameters we are mentioned will be used to create the connector configuration in the Mule. Like here, the default is there as a config ID. We will see this config ID when we will use this connector in our project. The third file is connection file. What is the connection file? The connection class is responsible for handling the connection in our case, and most of the actual coding regarding the connection we will write here. Like we have to validate that, or we want that connection part, we have to do this. Next is connection provider. This is used to manage and provide connection with target system. So if we are discussing about target system connection, that will provide by the connection provider class. For example, connect to the database, disconnect to the database, validate the database connection. So these all things happen inside the connection provider class. Okay. And the connection provider must implement one of the connection providers available in our Mule. So there are various options. For example, pooling connection provider, cast connection provider, or normal connection provider. This all detail will be there inside the connection provider. And now we are coming to the last class, that is the operations class. So what is this operation class? The operation class is where we have defined all the necessary operations for a specific task. What operations we have to do. So this contains all the actual connector operations implementation. So each connector operation is actually a method. We can say a function in a class. If you will say, as of now, there is one function retrieve info, another is say hi. So these are nothing but these are the operations which is visible inside that connector. So there can be multiple operations in a class. Like one operation is using the retrieve info, another is doing the say hi. Now, before doing anything, before updating these details, we have to create one project. You just right click new Mule project, meetup demo. We are just creating an empty project. The project is created successfully. Just using group ID, artifact ID, and version, and going to POM file of demo class. This is demo class. You can see inside the demo class, we have few dependencies. Now we will create one more dependency here. Inside that dependency, we will add group ID, artifact ID, and version number of our connector class. Okay, and I have saved. Once it is saved, going to the demo, name we have given com.meetup.mule connector, Mulesoft Meetup connector. Here we will see inside the demo there is no operation as of now. So what we have to do, we will go to a terminal and we will install that mvn clean install and skip test. As of now it is not there inside the m2 repo. We have to install that inside the m2 repo as well. Once it is built success, we are coming to the project. It is saved into the POM file, dependency saved, going to the demo class. Let's try from one. Let's check to the M2 folder as well. Meetup Mulesoft connector. Connector is already installed there. Should pick the connector. Let's try to clean this project as well. Okay, once we have done this, let me just clean this project again. Some issue is coming.
Gaurav, can't we just select the jar from the M2 repository that we have just installed?
Give me 1 second. Going to the form, adding the dependency. This is the group ID we have copied. Next is artifact ID. Next is the version. We have saved form.xml file. We can see that dependency is added successfully. We are coming to file, configuration file, and we can see that meetup connector is coming here. There will be some space or some issue earlier. We have to just add the dependencies. Once the dependency is added successfully, we can see that connector will come visible here. And the thing is, we are able to see the operations as well. Now we have two operations. One is say hi and another is retrieve info. If we are going to the class of our Java classes operation class, the major difference is we can see three functions are there: build hello message, say hi, and retrieve info. Three functions are there, three operations are there, but if we are see this connector, we can see only two operations. Why? The reason behind is, out of these three, the two functions are selected as public, but one function is selected as private. So the private methods are not exposed as operation. The private methods is used only and only for our task or operations or computations which we are doing. So if you will say hi is option is there, and that is calling only to this method build hello message, and this is returning the value. This is the final. And now we are taking this say hi connector. This is as operation. This is not as source. We'll come to the source as well. We will take one listener. We will set the configuration for the listener. Localhost 8081. The base path is setting as test. Now coming to the connector, say hi. Here we are giving person name. Now the question will raise why the only one option is coming, and that is person. We will just come to this. Why it is not coming as configuration? Why direct value we are getting? We have just provided this value and running this project. Is running. So meanwhile, we'll just discuss like if we will say this connector is visible, but I don't like this image, connector image, or you want to give your own icon for this image. In that case, what we have to do, we have to create one folder here inside the meetup. We have to create one folder. The folder name we have to give icon. Inside that icon, we have to put an image. So for example, just open in window, pictures, or the best way is a part of JPG. JPG won't work. We have to use some SVG image for this. So we need some SVG image which we can use. I'll just copy this SVG image and we can go to this path. Inside that path icon, we can paste this. This project is running now. We will just see hello meetup Kochi. The input parameter which we have provided, it's coming here. And three exclamation symbols are also coming. How it is coming? With hello. So this is coming because when we have defined the operations class, we have done the build hello message. And this build hello message have this information. Okay. But if you will say we have done this, but that icon which we have pasted, that is not visible yet. So how to visible that is, for this we have to give one more build, because this we have updated, but the currently version is 1.0.0. In that this is build is not done. So what we will do, we have to update the version number for the same. This is our extension. We are going that POM file. We are updating the extension with 1.0.1, saving this. Now we are cleaning the project. So it's still running. Maven build is taking time, guys. I'm really sorry for that. Yeah, build is success. So inside our project, now we are coming and we have to update the version number in the pom.xml file, because here in the dependencies we are using 1.0.0. Here now we have to update the version with 1.0.1. We'll go to the demo. If you will say the um, icon is changed for that, say hi. Okay, this is the thing how we have to update the icon. Now the next thing is, why only one option is coming as name? Why we are not getting the another options? So now we are going to the operations class. Inside the operations, we have to create one more method, or we will update this as well. We'll do both things together. First thing is we are creating one new method. We'll say hello. Inside this say hello, we are taking two things. First name and last name. Here we will pass first name and last name. This method is not available yet. We'll create that private method as well. Build hello, first name, last name. save this. This method is available, and a part of this method is public. We will just convert say hi is private. We'll save this. Now this method should not be visible. A part of this, it should be say hello. We'll say this will be convert or not. This is regarding all the say hello method. We'll go to the pom.xml file. We'll update the version. Why we are updating the version for every time? This is we are just maintaining the versioning control. If you not want to do for the same, like you don't want to update the version number, you want to do for the same, in that case first you have to remove this folder from maven repository, and then you have to run for the same version. Otherwise it will throw the same message. The update won't be visible. Build is success. Going to the demo class, updating the pom.xml from here. Pom.xml is saved. Same hi is not visible. We have to remove. Now going to the meetup, we can see say hello method is there. We have just used this method. And now you can see first name and last name, two things are coming. So how many number of parameters you have to pass? You have to pass this inside the arguments. It is building the project again. So we can see the messages updated successfully. Three dots are there now, and that method is not visible here. So basically the operation class will include all the methods, details, all the computations which we want to perform. This is regarding the common parameters. This did not include any kind of configuration part. Now we are coming to the second method, which is retrieve info. Inside the retrieve info, the first thing is we require the connector configuration or not. If connector configuration is required, we have to update the configuration, and inside that configuration, which all things are required. We have one required parameter, one friendly name that is there, and third one is config ID. So these three details is required. Out of these three, two things are required for the connection purpose inside the connection: required parameter and friendly name. Now we are going through these things. We are coming to the another class, that is the configuration. Inside the configuration, we have this configuration which is available here in the retrieve. Inside the configuration, we need config ID. This is the configuration detail which is required. If you need parameter, you can pass directly. It will be visible here. If you don't want to pass the parameter, you want to pass the config, you have to pass the configuration inside the configuration class. So this is the second thing, configuration class. How we are updating the configuration class, we have to use that. And please remember, the annotation is must. If you don't provide the annotation of this config ID, this won't be visible into the configuration. So an annotation for each class is important. And the next thing we need is connection. When we are doing the connection of this retrieve information, in that case, we require two things. One is the required parameter and another is friendly name. And third thing is we are getting the default value as well. So how to do this? So for this, we are coming to the connection class. Inside the connection class, you can see first we have to create the ID. One second. Required parameter and friendly name. Sorry. So this is our parameters. For this default value which we are taking for friendly name is coming as 100. This is the optional parameter. Inside the optional parameter, we have given a different display name. If you will see, the optional parameter is coming, but the name is coming as friendly name. That is visible in the display name. And another is the default value. If we want to provide the default value, we have to use annotation as optional, and we have to provide the default value. And we will use this parameter. If we want to provide the required parameter, we will use that required parameter. And inside the configuration, the id, it is coming as config id, and this config id we are passing into the connection. So if we want to do some validation part, we have to do into the connection, and configuration provider will include all the configuration of this. Any question, guys, up to here?
What is the purpose of config ID?
Config id is just a configuration part we are using. For example, if we will discuss about any live thing, if we are discussing about S3 bucket or AWS any service, we need some other option as well. For example, AWS reason, AWS S3 access key, secret key. So if we want to, few information is required for validations and connection, that we will provide inside the connection, like access key, secret key, reason. But some other information like S3 bucket name, that thing we will provide inside the configuration. So here we will do the validation. It will create the connection between this, and another is to access that specific resource, we have to provide some configuration detail, that we will use here, configuration id. This is just an example. This is config id. You can use anything a part of config id based on your requirement, like index, Kibana index. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. If these things are clear, then we will just proceed. So if you want to change the display name, we already seen this. The display name option is available. We can update the name. If we want to provide the default value, we can provide this default value. Using the same method, we can increase or decrease the number of parameters if we want to reduce. Or if you want to create a connection using the mention parameter, you have to define inside the connection class. So this is how we have to create the custom connector. Any question, guys, here? No. So now we are coming to one thing. Can anyone explain me what is the difference between source and operations? Anyone? What is source and what is operation? No. Okay. Okay. So operations process the messages, and source create the message to push into them flow. Okay. Like for example, HTTP listener. If we are discussing about listener, listener is the source. If we are talking about transform message or some other component, for example, or say hello, retrieve info, so these are the message sources which is coming here, and the sources which is coming to the first place, that is the sources. A connection is executed, is operation, and source is a connection is obtained each time the message resources start or when reconnection happens. The major differences. Okay. In message source, we have start and stop phase. They might require to access the parameter value, but inside the operations, operation have life cycle. but its parameter values are not available or not needed. That was the runnable example. So based on that, you can create a number of configuration. You can create your own HTTP config. You can create your own HTTP listener or requester. You can create that as well. This is the one example I will share with you guys. And another is I have created one HTTP requester as well. That also I will share at end of this meeting. Going to the presentation mode. So the first step which we have seen, the generate the app from archetype. We'll go to a directory where you want to create the custom connector. Execute the following command to create a basic project structure. This is the maven command which we have triggered. Okay. Then we have to complete the configuration through the console. We have provided the name of extension, the extension group ID, artifact ID, version, and the main package. So these details we have to provide from the terminal. And once we will provide this, it will create the project in the batch mode. Then we will validate the clean the package using the ambient clean, and then we will import that project. Once the project is imported, we can see the 5 classes as we have gone through of each of the class. First is the extension class. This class identify the various properties of our connection. And what we have discussed about the extension class, anyone can tell what is the purpose of extension class, guys? This is the main extension file, which is the starting point of connector. This is the starting point of the connector. Okay. The next is configuration class and connection class. The configuration class, which all information that you want from the global configuration, that is in the configuration class. It contains the configuration parameters, and the parameters we mentioned that will be used to create the connection configuration. And the third is the connection class. This is responsible to handling the connection in our case, and most of the actual coding will be there regarding the connection. The next is the connection provider, which will be manage and provide the target connection between the target system, like the connect, disconnect, validate. So these all things will happen into the connection provider. And the last is the operation class. In the operation class, where we will define all the necessary operation, how many methods we required inside the connector. This all details will be there inside the operations class. Okay, any doubt inside the classes, guys? Because connector is basically the role of these 5 classes. If you're clear about this each of the class, then you're good in the custom connectors. You can create anything.
So Gaurav, Ritika here. So it means that we can create any type of connection details, including SFTP, TP, anything should be working.
Yes, it will work.
Okay.
So what we have to do, like if you want to connect with SFTP, so connect disconnect part, we will write inside the connection provider all the responsibility handling of that SFTP connection, that we will write inside the connection class. What the SFTP will do, from where it will read the file, these all details we have to provide inside the operations class. So these, once we have defined this, then it will be fine. Okay, Ritika?
Yeah. Okay, Gaurav. Thank you.
Question, Maggie.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So instead of a static value like a Kochi or Meetup, if it should be dynamic value, so which
Yes,
Java class we need to operate?
it
I
will,
mean,
like how we are generally passing as a transform message. You have created the value, you are providing that variable value, or you are providing some value from the configuration, it will pick that as well.
Okay. I mean, if let's say if we take from the property file like .yaml, so
It will pick because
mhm.
when we are using that transform message, all the values from the transformation is managing by archetype, and it will provide that value inside the custom connector.
Okay, okay. So no need to implement a new logic in any of the Java class, right?
No, no. It will
Okay.
pick as a parameter, and using that parameter, we will read that value.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Hey, hi Gaurav.
Yeah.
I have a question, but this is something related to the business point of view. So, suppose if we have a client and they are not confident enough to go with the JSON logger, which is there in the market, since it is a third party connector. So,
Okay.
can we create our own JSON logger? And if we can, then what are all the things that we need to take in consideration before presenting it to the client?
So the first thing is you need only JSON logger, or you want to save your log somewhere else as well.
Say if we say we can go for the JSON logger and we want to send the logs to the Kibana or so some other ELK.
Okay. So there is very good way is we will use the log4j file. Using log4j, when we are sending this file, we will create our own logger there. So custom connector logger, a part of JSON logger, you create your own logger. Inside that logger, you will pick the details from log4j, and inside your custom logger, you are sending from logstash, logstash to next Elasticsearch to Kibana. Like that, you have to save that in a specific way. You don't need JSON logger. You create your own logger in that case.
Okay, okay.
If you need, I have that example. Post the meetup, I can share that as well with you.
Yeah, yeah, sure. That will be great. Thanks, Gaurav.
No, no worries. Now another is question: how to make connector as async execute like logger. We have to make that methods as async, and we can create as a async method that works. It is so when we are creating a custom connector using the Java SDK, a bit of Java knowledge is required in this case. If we have, then we are good for that.
Hello, Gaurav, I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to answer the previous question, which was asked related to JSON logger. So I just want to share one experience that my project's requirement was that the kind of field which JSON logger provides, they were not happy with the fields. So they wanted some extra fields. Okay. So that's the reason I went for the custom connector. But before that, I was just looking for the option to update the JSON logger, which I was not able to do. I mean, because that is provided by MuleSoft. Okay. So whenever such a requirement is there from business, when they want their own, customized fields, it is advisable to create a custom
Able to hear
connector.
me?
Yes. Yeah. Ajit, yes. Hello, Ajit. Are you trying to speak something? Gaurav, am I audible to you?
Yes, Supriya.
Yes, Supriya.
I
Sorry, I
think,
lost you in the last bit.
uh, okay. Ashutosh, it is?
Yeah,
Yeah, so Ashutosh, it was your question, right? About
yes.
a JSON logger. So that's what I explained. Related to JSON logger, there are limited fields as it is provided by MuleSoft. So we can only explore that fields. But whenever a client's requirement is customized, then it is advisable to go for a custom connector. And whether it's a JSON logger or it's a custom connector, log4j is a way, okay, or maybe I can say a path from which we can edit the details of any third party tool. So it can be Splunk or maybe ELK, and that way further we can use.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And I think Gaurav, Ajit was asking question, but have you answered the question how to make connector as async execution like a logger?
Yeah, Ajit is not able to speak. I just want to throw
Hello,
Yes.
the
this
question
is
at him.
Ajit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ajit. Yeah, we lost you in between
Yeah,
actually.
actually, actually, I'm trying to do some Splunk logger because we do not want to JSON logger anything. like connecting through the Splunk through HTTP. In the Java logic, we want to implement HTTP as it is not a very business data, right? So we just want to be asynchronous.
Okay. So when we are discussing about asynchronous, then there are two ways. Either we will create a normal or connector, and we will put into async scope. The another way is when we are creating the custom connector. In that, we will define our method as async. So we should not wait for the response. So it will be like fire and forgot type. We have just triggered that connector and we are not waiting for that response and we are going for next step. So that is that for that we should use async method.
Okay. Okay.
So when we are
Yeah.
creating the custom connection in the operation class, we should define that.
Yeah, I have tried with the async scope and also this method, which I have not succeeded at. Yeah,
So are you using the threading for that when we are using the async? Any thread or thread pool?
I'm using CPU Lite.
CPU Lite.
Yeah,
Okay. So if you are available, then post call like maybe on Monday or Tuesday, we can schedule a call and we can discuss that, Ajit. I can just
yeah,
take a
all
look
right.
and I
Yeah,
can help you.
all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So just to update, Ashutosh, your question is regarding the logging, right? So MuleSoft provided a new version, right, regarding the logging MDC. So go over there, and if you find applicable to you, use that, because custom connector always a headache, or we have to maintain it. MuleSoft will not support that maintenance, right? So you have to be very careful about that before creating the custom connector. You are the responsible for all the failure and success, right? That is the one thing you have keep in mind. But anyway, MuleSoft it is enhancing their logging and all. Please go. I will suggest go to MDC logging, and there they are giving very flexible things to you. To you can add the variables, remove the variables, and you can track the things as many you can. Right? If it is with respect to the logging. The custom logging connector we have to go only in case if out of the box functionality is not provided by the MuleSoft. And yes, somewhere we have this stuff to encounter, like in AQ connector still it is not there. You have to create it if you want to add that functionality, right? So I will share you the link that will be helpful for you guys if you want to go for specific to the you are looking for a login.
Thanks, Gazanan.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Gazanand. Regarding this point, I was forgot that MDC logging part. So regarding the MDC, that is a good option. But the thing is, we should install Mule tracing module in our application for that. That is one important role there. So if we want to, if we can use that tracing module, then it is good. We can use that MDC part.
Yeah, and I will. I always suggest. Please keep on eye the release of the MuleSoft, because they will come with a lot of surprises for you. In sometimes we don't know about some functionality they already have built, but we are in the old version and all, and that we miss that opportunity, right? So yeah, keep eyes on that releases and all, and keep updated with that. Yeah, thanks, Gaurav.
No worries. So that is required completely like content entire execution depend on that corresponding events actually. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Any other question, guys? No. Okay. We are going to the next step. So this is a part which we have covered. Inside this components, we have seen the operation, resources, rules, scopes, functions. So the scopes and sources and operations, I have already given the differences. The things are good. Now we are coming to the next part. how to install a connector. I have already shown that example. We will do the maven clean install for that connector, and then we have to add that dependency, specific dependency in the another project where we want to use. Okay. Demonstration part is done. So anything else, guys, which we have to cover, or
Guys,
any question?
anybody has any questions before we move to the quiz questions?
Gaurav, just one question. What is that particular command is skip unit test? What is used for?
The skip unit test is if your project if you're not adding the unit test cases for your project, in that case we are using skipping that test case. Suppose you have written the unit test, but it is failing somewhere. The test cases are not passed. In that case, we need to skip that. That's why we are using the skip. The skip will take a bit of less time. That's why for the demo purpose, I have used skip test as we not done the am units.
Oh, so it is more over amino related part, is it?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. If the next time, based on your feedback, next time we can schedule one demo for logging connector or some other connector based on the business requirement. We will take any example and then we can proceed. Hope it will be good. I'm just releasing the screen and control, Supriya. It's all to you now.
Yes, yes, thank you. So I hope anybody else is, even if you have questions, you guys know us, you can follow us on LinkedIn, and there you can ask questions and probably we'll try to resolve it. So it's quiz time. So what I'm going to do is, can you see the chat window? So there where I will add one question, okay, and there will be options, and the first person who answers the questions will be selected, and to that person, whatever training MuleSoft offers, so that voucher will be provided. Okay, so I'm just posting questions, let me know if everybody is ready. Okay, so this is a true or false. I'll also read it for you and then only answer. Okay. Extension class is used to identify various properties of your connector. True or false? Okay, okay. Sumit, please take a note. I think Prince has given the answer. True. So that's a true thing.
Okay,
A
so Prince,
superior problem is there. We are not able to see your matches there and all, and where it is.
I am putting it into message window, I said.
We are not. I'm not able to see that. But anyway,
Uh, who is saying Gaza?
yeah, it's Gazanan. But
Gazanan,
probably,
yeah.
yeah, might be I'm not eligible for this because all.
Because everybody else is answering. So, yeah. So that's what.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm not able to see your question. That is the problem.
Can you
No, it
please
is in
share
the
your
chat
screen?
window.
It is in the general section of the chat.
yeah, general section. You
Supriya,
must
can
be.
you please share your screen if you have
Oh
questions
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ready?
Got it. I
That will
was
be
in the
No,
great.
wrong window.
because
I was in the wrong window.
Probably you are in the Q&A session, so you just need to go to the
Exactly.
general section.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. It's
I
my
am,
bad.
yeah, general section. That's the reason I said wherever, type your message here, there, where I'm clicking. So, yeah. So, sorry, Gazanan, for that. But please concentrate for the second question. Probably you will get that right. And
Let
the reason I'm not sharing a screen is because it is highlighted. The right answer is highlighted. So, sorry, I can't share the screen. Okay. Now, I'm putting the
wait,
second
Supriya,
question.
before you put the second question, let me just say,
Yes.
Prince Kumar, can you please we can initiate a voucher for you and
Yes,
Supriya
yes.
email.
Where I can put my email
You
ID in
can
the
you
chat.
can ping to me directly, or you can DM me separately.
Okay.
Sumit. Okay.
Okay. I mean, what is your name? I mean, Sumit
Sumit
Ahuja.
You,
Ahuja. If you have any
Okay.
confusion, you can DM Supriya. If you have any another confusion, you can put in the general section as well. That is fine. Just give
Okay.
your
Okay.
email.
Okay.
So
I'm putting in
Superior,
the
quick,
general
just
section.
Prince Kumar, we need your email ID. That's it.
Okay. Okay. I'm putting
Simple.
in the general section.
Simple. Yeah.
Superior, quick
Thank you.
question. If anybody win this trivia questions last 15 days or month, is it eligible there? Like can participate?
Yeah. I mean, see, you can participate. I'll tell you how it works. Okay, so
Hmm.
MuleSoft will have a certain training session, so they will see like who are the winners or maybe who were the speakers and etc. So they will have their own filter things wherein, if the person has already taken the training, probably they will not allow you to take that training. Okay, so that is completely with MuleSoft. What max we can do is we can send them the request that for these people we'll be sending a link and you guys have to fill out a form, and then whenever the training is available you will get the email. That's how it works. Okay.
Might be then I have to skip that because I already went to previous things, so might be others can
Oh,
participate. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
can you see the
Sounds.
email address? Sorry, email ID.
Yes, we
Okay.
can see.
We have noted it all. Thanks, Prince.
Okay.
Thank you, Prince.
But you're
Okay,
not
the second.
eligible for the next questions, Prince. I hope you understand.
Okay. So I'm not eligible for the next question.
You can
Next two
still
questions.
answer, but that won't be considered.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm putting a second question. Please everybody have an eye on that. What is not the valid connection provider? Pooling connection provider, cached connection provider, only connection provider, Java connection provider. So Sumit, please make a
Yeah.
note. Mattia Beltrano.
Okay. So Matia Beltrano, I think we would like to have your email ID.
Yes. Others who are answering C, B is wrong. The right answer is Java connection provider. Okay. Sumit, once you get his email ID, thank you, Mattia. It was real quick. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm putting the third question. Please, everybody have an eye there. Use of private function in operation class. A, computation purpose. B, setup properties. C, configuration purpose. What is the right answer? Okay, so I think, Sumit, if you can note, Ameya Parab has given the right answer, which is computation purpose. So, Ameya, can we have your email ID? So, guys, the right answer is computation purpose. Thank you, Ameya. Okay, can I ask everybody to please come on the video? We just need one snap. Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you, Sumit. Thank you, Sandeep. Especially the winners, please. Thanks, Gaurav. It was amazing session, Gaurav, I must say.
Thank you.
And I would also like to tell you this is not your last session in the Kochi group, okay? This is
Yeah,
just your first. Many more to come. And
sure.
guys, others also, if you have any interest in topic, or maybe you want to speak, because we get a lot of nomination of the people who wants to speak, but what happens is they don't get the partner, so they need to drop their plan. So anybody who's interested in speaking for MuleSoft Meetup, any technical topic of your choice, please DM us, talk to us over LinkedIn, and we will help you with the topic, with how to prepare, with like everything. But just give a chance. Okay.
And the best thing is, I
Uh,
will just add, the best thing is if you are becoming a speaker, you will also get options to get one mules of training and voucher for exam.
that's right. That's right. Okay, I'm just taking one snap. Please, everybody smile. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I hope you don't have any more questions and have a good weekend ahead. Gaurav, thank you so much.
Thank you everyone.
It was a pleasure of having a session from you. It was amazing. Thank you so
Oh, no
much.
worries.
Thank you
Yeah.
so
Bye.
much,
Bye,
Gaurav.
everybody.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much for
Thank
your
you.
time. Bye bye.
Yeah, thanks.